Hi everyone, this is me Mariali Bidapat, and for today's video, we will talk about how to use the different directional terms. So let's start. So first thing is let us know what is anatomical position. So anatomical position is standing, face forward, arms to side, palms forward, fingers extended, thumbs away, feet separated, toes point forward. So anatomical term help us identify the location of both internal and external body structures. And it also identify where something is located on the body relative to another body part. So here are the different directional terms. First is anterior and posterior, ventral and dorsal, distal and proximal, medial and lateral, superior and inferior, external and internal, and last but not the least is frontal and occipital. And then the planes, the coronal plane, the sagittal plane, and the transverse plane. So first, let's talk about the anterior and posterior. So anterior or ventral means front of or in the front. Example of this is your abdominal muscles are on the anterior side of your body, and posterior or dorsal means opposite of the anterior, which means back of or behind or on the back. Next is proximal and distal. So proximal means closer to the actual body or toward the trunk, and distal means farther from the actual body or farther from the trunk. So the colored blue in the picture is the actual body, while the rest is the appendicular body. The thigh is proximal to the foot, while the foot is distal to the thigh. Next is medial and lateral. So medial means toward the midline of the body, and lateral means toward the side of the body. And the example of this is the lungs in the heart. So the heart lies medial to the lungs, and the lungs lies lateral to the heart. Next is external and internal. So external is also known as superficial, which means closer to the surface of the body, and deep or internal means farther from the surface of the body. Example of this is the sternum and the lungs. So the sternum is superficial to the lungs, while the lungs are deep to the sternum. Next is superior and inferior. So superior means toward the head or upper or above, while inferior means toward the feet or lower or below. And the example of this is the heart and the small intestine. The heart is located superior to the small intestine, while the small intestine is located inferior to the heart. Next is frontal and occipital. So I'm showing you the brain lobes. Each side of your brain contains 4 lobes. So first is frontal lobe, second is parietal lobe, third is occipital lobe, the fourth one is temporal lobe, and I will only discuss the frontal and the occipital lobe. So the frontal lobe is important for cognitive functions, control of voluntary movement or activity, while the occipital lobe is primarily responsible for vision. And lastly, the 3 planes in motion of the body. First is the coronal plane, second is sagittal plane, and third one is transverse plane. First, let's talk about the sagittal plane. Sagittal plane cuts the body into left and right halves, also forward and backward movements. Coronal plane cuts the body into front and back halves, side to side movements. And the transverse plane cuts the body into top and bottom halves and twisting movements. And that's all for today. Hope you learned something and see you on the next video. Bye!